Looking for magic cards? At flipsidegaming.com you can now use the promo code LVD to get a 10% discount on orders over $10 while supporting the channel at the same time. Alright, time for Guilds of Ravnica, competitive drafts, and pack one, pick one. We've got a pretty good one here. March of the Multitudes, Axpel, Mythic Rare, Convoke, make a bunch of soldier tokens with lifelink. So definitely a first pickable quality card. We've got a Harpooner, which is a decent 2-drop. Mage is fine, but I don't think there's too many reasons to first pick this. Not a fan of the Wand, even in a Golgari deck. What else do we have that's worth noting? I do like me a Generous Tray. Lurcher's one of the better payoff cards for Golgari. And that's about it. So yeah, we're just picking the March here. Alright, what do we have next? Ooh, a Chromatic Lantern. Could build a nice multicolored deck. The ramp from the Lantern also works nicely with the March. So I'm not turning down the Lantern, but let's see what else we have. There's a Crush Contraband, which is a powerful sideboard card, given that we're playing best out of 3. I'm not a fan of Glaive. Capture Sphere is okay, removal. Bats is kind of medium. Anything else that stands out? The Woodshaper is okay. Definitely a good card in general. Nice 2-for-1. And I guess there's also Celestial Locket worth mentioning. Crushing Canopy, good sideboard card. Hopefully we can pick a few of those up, but not a card you should second pick. So yeah, I'm not seeing any outstanding cards other than the Chromatic Lantern and maybe the Woodshaper. Maybe the Capture Sphere, but I think taking Lantern early, getting a bit of mana fixing, we could end up in a sweet multicolor deck instead of having to stick to a guild. Plus, this is still fine if we end up Selesnya, if we are looking for some ramp. Let's have some fun here. There's a Midnight Reaper, definitely a powerful card. So is a Mystic, Blaze is good removal for the right deck. Some good commons too, Skyline Scout. Definitely a solid common, so is the Lurcher once again. Even have a bit of removal in Prey Upon in green. So this is a difficult pick and it's kind of going to determine which direction we're headed. So this is choose your own adventure. If we, for some reason, wanted to stick to pure Selesnya and don't feel like going the multicolor route, then there's a Skyline Scout, which is serviceable. Prey Upon's fine, but those picks are pretty conservative. Purely on power level, my guess is Midnight Reaper probably beats out most of the rest. Mystic could be good in the right deck, but after starting with the March of the Multitudes, we're probably not going to have a deck with infinite numbers of instants and sorceries necessarily. This is going to shine in a pure Dimir or Izzet deck. And Blaze, while a fine card, I don't think we need to pick it here. So yeah, I'm kind of into the Midnight Reaper here. And then maybe splash either the March or the Midnight Reaper, or just end up in a deck that can easily support both if we end up picking up enough guild gates, which is definitely a thing. So let's take a Reaper, just take the powerful cards and not confine ourselves to a single guild quite yet. Alright, we're seeing more Izzet guild gates. Vindicator still in the pack, definitely a good card. What do we have? Other than the Vindicator, we've got a Hired Poisoner, which is okay. Burglar Rat is usually serviceable. Child of Night, not really a fan of, but if you're lacking 2-drops, you could do worse. And then we've got some medium 3s and 4s. Shieldmate, always castable if you're green or white. So a few options here. Don't think we're taking the Vindicator, since that wants to be in a pretty dedicated, aggressive Boros deck, which this is not shaping up to be. So if we exclude the Swiftblade, that leaves us with Poisoner, Burglar, maybe some of the green cards, maybe the Shieldmate since it's always castable. Kind of leaning towards one of the black cards here, since they go well with the Midnight Reaper. Don't have any removal yet, so having a Death Touch creature would be nice. I think if we're a deck that's aiming to get to the late game, an annoying blocker in the form of Hired Poisoner might be worth it. So I think that's what I'm going with here. Alright, what do we have here? Some good blue card and Nightveil Sprite, definitely a solid card, even if you're not a dedicated surveil deck, just a card selection you get every turn, definitely powerful. What else do we have? Not that much for our purposes. Pack Beast, definitely a nice kind of finisher in aggressive decks to clear a path for a big attack. There's the Recluse, which is fine but not exciting. The Trooper, definitely good in a Golgari deck. Just the threat of activation on this card is pretty decent. There's a pump spell for the aggressive decks. Grappling Sundew, I guess, is a good defensive early card, but not really a fan of this card. And Vapors doesn't look all that good in our deck, where we already have a March and a Hired Poisoner that die to it. And seems a bit early to take a Dimir Guildgate when we don't have any blue cards we're interested in quite yet. I guess we could just speculate on a Nightveil Sprite. In case blue ends up being open, we could move into Dimir, abandon the March of the Multitudes. It's definitely reasonable. Could take the Trooper. I think I'm just taking the Sprite, just take the good card, and kind of wait and see which colors end up being open. There's a chance we end up in Dimir. Alright, and now we're seeing some more Boros cards. Another good one here. 6 mana 5/5 Vigilance, deals 1 when it attacks. Another Undercity Uprising, could have had a few of those by now. Could take a Guildgate now. The Crab and the Shade are kind of the 23rd cards in your deck most of the time if you need to play them. So not too excited about those. Might just take the Guildgate as kind of a conservative pick. I think we're pretty far away from a Swathcutter Giant, even though I think it's probably the best card here. If we're playing 3 colors, then the more realistic color combination, I guess, would be black, green, white, since then we have access to Selesnya and Golgari. Or it would be blue, black, green, since that gives us access to Golgari and Dimir. So either way, the overlapping guild would be Golgari. So we probably have a good use for this Golgari Guildgate. But then in the same reasoning, we could just take the Uprising as an okay removal spell, even though it's a little clunky. I think I'm going with the Guildgate here. Alright, another good Boros card. So we might have ended up in an okay Boros deck had we just stuck to Boros Dowser of Lights as a serviceable 5-drop. Same with the Ceratok, although I think I prefer Dowser as a 5-drop than I do Ceratok as a 4-drop. Could take a Dimir Guildgate, fix our mana. I think those are the options. I think it's between Guildgate and Dowser here. It's too bad that we kind of have to give up on the March of the Multitudes pick. We haven't seen a ton of great Selesnya cards at this point. I think I'm leaning towards Dowser, since it's pretty likely to make our deck. So still no good Selesnya cards, just a Selesnya Locket for now. Another Beam Splitter Mage, there's a chance there's going to be one in the next pack, but we haven't seen a ton of Izzet related cards lately. So Selesnya and Izzet seem to be cut off for the most part. We're seeing a bit of Boros come through, we're seeing a bit of Dimir and Golgari related stuff too. Could just take a Recluse here, set up to be black-green. Could take a Locket, but I think we've kind of given up on white now. And I'm not really a fan of these cards. Let's take a Recluse. And alright, we wield the Generous Trace, so green seems to be pretty open. That's a good sign. And now we have our choice of Crushing Canopy or Pax Favor. Pax Favor is kind of a main deckable card, if you have to. Crushing Canopy is just an excellent sideboard card. Could even consider main decking it if you're particularly weak to flyers. I think I'll take the Canopy here for the sideboard. And now we can pick up a Worm. Weird seeing the Skyland Scout this late. I guess that furthers our conclusion that Boros is flowing. But I think we'll probably make use of the Worm pretty well. Alright, so it looks like we're moving into Golgari. And yep, all the black and green cards still around. Alright, so we get to choose which one we want, which is nice. So how's our curve looking like so far? I don't have any 4s, so that might be a reason to take the Saratok. But we also don't have any 2s, so that's a reason to take Child or Shieldmate. I don't think we're taking the Okapi here, given our curve. So between the 2s and the 4, I'm not the biggest fan of the Saratok, since it kind of trades down with a lot of 3-drops. And between a 2-2 Vigilance for 2 and a 2-on Lifelink for 2, which one are we more interested in? I think I'm leaning towards Shieldmate here over Child of Night. Could keep the door open for having a bit more white, but the main reason is just that I think our deck is going to be rather defensive, so the extra toughness seems more relevant than the Lifelink here. Pack Beast wheeled. And this one wheeled too. Still a decent card in an aggressive deck. Alright. Oof. Wow. Those are some good Selesnya cards all of a sudden. Emara, definitely very powerful too if you can play it on turn 2. There's a Harpooner, which is great in any green deck. Some Dimir cards. Disinformation Campaign's quite a beating, but maybe more in sealed than in draft, since in draft you might be facing a few of those aggressive Boros decks more than in sealed. There's a Centaur too. A Lurcher if we're just looking at Golgari specifically. Whisper Agent's always playable if you're just black as well. So do we need to reconsider white here? So right now our black cards are essentially Dowser, Reaper, and Poisoner, which is not a very heavy commitment to black, to be honest. So we could still leave the door open for Selesnya by saying, alright, we won't be playing the Reaper and the Poisoner, and instead we take a Mara here, move into white, maybe splash black for a Midnight Reaper, who knows. And then we could get access to these cards as well. But that is probably with the realization that in the third pack we're probably not going to get much white, since we didn't see much of it in the first pack. But Emara is a very powerful card. I don't know. I think we're gonna hop back into white. Just the fact that we also get access to March of the Multitudes is pretty good reason. And then there's a good chance we'll have to end up splashing black, since we might not have enough playables otherwise, we'll see. But yeah, I don't think I want to pass up on Emara. And then we're hoping to wheel Harpooner, but I don't think that's going to happen. Maybe a Lurcher or Centaur will wheel. Alright, and there's a Ladaf Champion, which is a very strong Selesnya card as well. Prey Upon would also be good. What else is there? So the rare is missing. I don't think we're passing up on a champion here. And then hoping to wheel one of the white cards or the Prey Upon. Seems fine to me. Ooh. Flight of Aquanauts, good too. Do need to pick up some more cheap creatures for Convoke, but it's definitely a powerful finisher. There's another Prey Upon, there's a Selesnya Guildgate, which we wouldn't mind. I think we're taking the flight here, and then we're pretty good on late game, and we just need to make sure to shore up our early game, pick up some Prey Upon, some more removal. So, not a ton of options for Selesnya, seeing a ton of Izzet-related cards, which was the other guild that was cut off in the first pack, so it makes sense that it would be flowing in this direction. So Gorgon and Saratok are the options. Not the biggest fan of Saratok, but it is easier on the mana. Gorgon kind of acts as removal, which we could definitely use. But we're also pretty high on 3-drops already. I guess this is not really a 3-drop. I guess we can still take a Gorgon, there's a chance we don't play the Lantern. And it's just a good defensive measure with Death Touch, so... Alright, Flower Flourish, powerful card. What else is there? Another Shieldmate, I wouldn't mind. Guildgate, I wouldn't mind. So Flower Flourish kind of fixes her mana. Doesn't get her black mana, but still gets her white or green. And then the Flourish half can be a powerful finisher as well. And there's also Color the Culprit, which is somewhat of an awkward removal spell at times, since it doesn't deal with the aggressive Boros creatures that can easily kill you, like a Sky Knight Legionnaire. And we kind of already picked up a Death Touch creature now to deal with large ground creatures. We can make some tokens to help with blocking large ground creatures in general. So I don't know how high we should be taking the Color the Culprit. Would need a bit more experience in the format to figure that out. I think we'll go with the flower here. More Flight of Equinaughts. Don't mind if I do. There does come a point where you've got too many expensive Convoke cards. Don't know if we've reached that point yet. We only have Flight, March. Don't even have to play the Worm. And this is a powerful finisher. There's also Might of the Masses, but I don't think we need that quite yet. Pretty low on cheap creatures to go with it. Guildgate I wouldn't mind. Foragers would probably make the cut as well. And there's a Righteous Blow, but that's pretty mopey removal. I think we just take another Flight and then just make sure to shore up our early game, take all the cheap creatures we can find. So here I think it's between the Generous Stray and the Dissident. Dissident solid 2-drop with an activated ability to make it bigger in the late game. Generous Stray replaces itself, which is always nice, and provides a body for Convoke. Not too interested in the other green and white cards here. So between the two, might have to consider our curve at this point and just go for the cheaper card, which is definitely relevant for Convoke purposes. If you kind of stumble and have too many 3s, then your Convoke cards will get delayed. But I do think Generous Stray is probably the better card in a vacuum, but our deck might need the Dissident more than the Generous Stray, since we're pretty heavy on 3s already. Yeah, I think I'll go with the Dissident here. I've talked myself into it. Could take another Flower Flourish, could take a Blade Instructor as just a filler 3-drop creature. Does go well with our 2-drops. Could consider splashing the Uprising, but I don't know if we're still on the Golgari plan. Our only fixing right now is Guildgate and maybe a Lantern. So we could still consider splashing some black, but if we can avoid it, it's probably better. So I think here it's between Flower Flourish and Blade Instructor. If we pick up another Flower Flourish, then our late game is taken care of, and we can just take all the cheap creatures we can find. And we can probably find some more 3-drops along the way. Yeah, let's take another Flower Flourish, see how that works out. Don't mind me a Ladef Guardian. Surprised that the Disinformation campaign's still there. And now I might just take the Righteous Blow over the Guardian to have some more cheap interaction. Alright, probably not playing any of these. I guess there might be a matchup where we want an extra Worm. And some more blue and red cards. Alright, well, we've got some nice wheels here. Mainly looking at the Shieldmate over the Color here. Even though Color would fit the deck nicely, and it's not like we have a ton of removal currently. But Shieldmate does play very well with Convoke. So this is a tough one. What does the chat think? Should we go with Shieldmate, shore up our early creatures, another body for Convoke? Or should we go with Color the Culprit as a bit of removal for opposing larger creatures? Alright, it seemed like a pretty unanimous decision for Color at first, and we Had a few more votes for Shieldmate, but color wins 17-7. Alright, let's take a color. So going into pack 3, we're looking to pick up some more cheap creatures, maybe a removal spell or two if we can find it, and maybe some token generators. And well, we opened a pretty nice on-color rare. It's gonna be difficult to pass up on. And then hoping to wheel Generous Tray, maybe some of these other creatures. Alright, so our late game is looking very strong. Not gonna pass up on this one. So let's make sure to shore up our early game now. So I don't think we're taking a Pack Beast. The only other option is Recruit, which is fine. It's a 2-drop, we want a 2-drops, we got a 2-drop. And nothing that I really consider splashing here. If we can stick to pure Selesnya, that's probably better. And what do we have here? I guess a Healer's Hawk. Cheap cards to help us convoke. Nothing else really. So yeah, as we predicted, we might not see a ton of Selesnya in the third pack. But that's fine. We're gonna see more Boros, which was open in pack 1. Alright, now we have the choice between Guildgate, Might of the Masses, and another Shieldmate. So what are we more interested in? I definitely wouldn't mind first Guildgate. Probably not playing the Golgari one. Probably don't need a Worm. But having more 2-drops for Convoke is nice. Chat seems to think we should go for the Guildgate. Yeah, there's a good chance the Shieldmate wheels, but that's also true for the Guildgate, I guess. I think it's between the Shieldmate and the Guildgate here. Don't think we're too interested in Might of the Masses since we have a late game that doesn't rely on combat tricks. Yeah, there's a good chance we don't end up playing the Lantern. I'll go with the Guildgate here. I'm not sure which one is more likely to wheel. But we did wheel the Shieldmate in the previous pack, so there's a good chance it wheels now too. Alright, found another good 2-drop in Skyland Scout. And there's also a Woodshaper, which looks pretty good in our deck. Since we were somewhat lacking in 4-drops, so that would fill our curve nicely. And it's a 2-for-1. So it hurts to pass up on a Skyline Scout since it's one of the better 2-drops. But the Woodshaper seems to fit our deck perfectly, so I think I'll go with it. Ooh, nice. District Guide. We even picked up the Guildgate that it can find now. So that's an excellent 3-drop for our deck. Make sure to hit our land drops, add another creature to the board. Pretty excited to see it. And now splashing black is even more realistic than it was before. And we're seeing some reasonable options for us now. Locket, Pax Favor, and another Gird for Battle. Not sure we're playing the first one. The Locket is looking reasonable, since unlike the Chromatic Lantern, we can always sacrifice it late game to let us draw some cards. Pax Favor doesn't really seem necessary, since our late game has some inevitability to it with the Flights, the March, the Camaraderie. So I'm kind of leaning towards a Locket here. Alright, can have another color, seems fine. Not too interested in these other cards. And now we can pick up some curve fillers. So what part of our curve do we need to fill? Don't really need more 3s. But I'm not a huge fan of Saratok. But I don't think we're playing a Restorer. Although maybe we are. A 3-4 I much prefer over a 4-3. And if we can curve 2-drop into 3-drop, we can play this on turn 4. Yeah, Utopia could potentially let us splash black, but the question is, do we really have to make our mana sketchy in order to play black just for a Midnight Reaper? When our green-white deck is looking plenty powerful. Don't think we need the Midnight Reaper, to be honest. I might go for the Restorer, actually. Especially if we can wheel one of those 2-drops, then the Restorer's looking decent. Alright, did not wheel any 2-drops yet. Guess we'll go with the Pack Beast. And yeah, it doesn't look like we're gonna wheel the 2-drop here, sadly. Alright, so not a bad deck, I would say. Definitely not perfect, but it's got some powerful things going on. So we've got 2 Flower Flourish, so I would kind of count those as 1 land. So we only need to play 16. Plus we also have a Discard Guide, which helps, and a Locket. So this seems like a 16 land deck with double flower, which means we can just cut a land and we have a deck. Pretty much. And then our only real sideboard card is Crushing Canopy, maybe some Worms if we feel like we need some more top end. Yeah, we're just not gonna splash here. I think our deck is powerful enough where we are good to go with just Selesnya. And then our mana distribution, definitely more white and green. So 8-7 seems acceptable. Don't think I want to go lower on the green since we do need to cast some of our green cards on turn 2. Alright, this looks good. So first picked March, then second pack we first picked Emara, and then the third pack we first picked Camaraderie, so all the rares were on color, which is nice. So just a pretty straightforward Selesnya deck. Let's see how it performs. This hand's pretty decent. 2-drop, 3-drop, 4-drop. Turn 1 Healer's Hawk, alright. Let's get the Shieldmate out there. So next turn we have a pretty efficient turn. We can go Selesnya Locket plus Righteous Blow the Healer's Hawk. So I think we Righteous Blow here. The Hawk might be more problematic later in the game, but getting rid of a creature when playing a Selesnya mirror match so we don't let them convoke as early seems worth it. Alright, so now we can... kind of leaning towards keeping the flower in hand, given that we just picked up a land. So we'll have... although I guess the counter argument is that we can then sacrifice a Locket to draw some more cards. We're definitely playing the Woodshaper this turn. Alright, well, we've got a few decent options here. Emara's looking decent. Pack Beast could be okay. I think those are the main considerations. So we don't have any Convoke cards in hand for Emara. Opponent could easily put up a blocker for Emara so that we don't get to profitably attack with her. But we do have Flourish, which can push through a big attack. And then next turn we could go a 2-drop plus 2-drop, which is pretty efficient. Although Pack Beast is looking decent too, since it can attack past a Rock Charger. This is tough. I think I'm actually leaning towards the Pack Beast, just because I don't think Emara's very likely to connect, and then might as well attack. We're threatening the Convoke Pump spell here. And then do we Flower to get a land? I don't think we do. So let's see how aggressive our opponent gets in with both. So they likely have a good blocker here. Beast Whisperer, that's a good one. And pick up a Healer's Hawk. So not casting Flower. Already coming back to bite us here, since we could have gotten the Healer's Hawk into play. Feels like getting the Pack Beast in play is worth it here. And then we're hoping to pick up some of our big Convoke cards. And now if we draw land, we can Flourish to deal quite a bit of damage. Alright. Opponent's got 5 mana up. Not sure what that means. Could also go Dissident plus Healer's Hawk and then next turn Flourish, that might be better. So this turn we just attack and see what happens. Alright. So our opponent could be dead if they don't play it safe. We'll find out. Oof, Camaraderie. Opponent draws 3, makes their creatures bigger. Well, let's hope they get a bit aggressive here so we can punish them with Flourish. Alright, so we're taking 7, opponent gains to up to 18, and then we've got 4, 8, 12, 17, yeah, that should be lethal. Well, that worked out. So we're playing the mirror match. Opponent's got a Beast Whisperer. They had a Camaraderie as well. So how do we sideboard? We did see Rock Charger and the Hawk, so Crushing Canopy might not be terrible, but green-white's not particularly known to have a ton of flyers. Yeah, color is kind of weird since it's good against the Convoke creatures that they convoke out, but it's not good against the initial creatures that they use. Could see cutting one of them, but there's a good chance that they have some siege worms in there that we need to answer with color. So I don't think we want to cut both. So we could either add a Gird to be a bit more aggressive early, Pack Beast for racing scenarios, or a Canopy for Afraid of Flyers. Think of those scenarios, Pack Beast looks the most appealing. So I think we'll try this. Again, our late game is already pretty decent with double flight, which stops their flyers, so I'm not too concerned with needing Crushing Canopy. So I think this is okay. This hand's looking decent too. We won't be able to play Gorgon on 3 unless we find another forest, but I think we're still playing Guildgate on 1. Opponent's mulliganing down to 5. So we might be able to punish them with a fast start. So we're hoping for a forest here on turn 3. Perfect. Yeah, the problem with Flower to find forest is that we wouldn't be able to play Gorgon on 3 since we want to play Recruit on 2. But it all worked out in the end, and now we definitely want to keep Flourish since it's going to be an effective bump spell later in the game. Alright. So next turn Wood Shaper hopefully finds us a powerful creature. Centaur's not bad. Ooh, Camaraderie. Alright, so I think the Gorgon's staying back. Don't want to trade 2 damage for 4 damage. Even though we could technically double block the center with Recruit and Woodshaper, that's not something we're interested in when we have Camaraderie coming up. And there's a good chance our opponent stays back with the center instead of attacking, which is exactly what we want, given our hand. So next turn we can Guardian, and then we can draw a bunch of cards with Camaraderie, Flourish as a finisher too. So I like where this is going. Alright, opponent's got a flower themselves. Alright. Let's just Guardian it up. The fact our opponent cast Flower for the flower half might indicate that they have their own Camaraderie in hand or some other expensive card that they want to get out. Let's see if that's the case. A Flight of Equinaughts, alright, so no Camaraderie, but an expensive card nonetheless. Yeah, I think we Camaraderie here. Draw 4, seems good. And then we can sneak in an attack with Gorgon, potentially. Don't think we want to trade. I mean, we could trade a Woodshaper or Recruit for 6 damage. Is that worth it? And with double Flourish in hand, we kind of want to keep as many creatures in play as possible for later. So I think we just attack with the Gorgon here. And if our opponent attacks with the center, we'll definitely consider a double block. Alright, opponent's getting in there with the centaur, so how interested are we in double blocking? I mean, technically it's a good block for us, Woodshaper and Guardian, so they probably have a trick. But I actually don't mind baiting out the trick, given that we just drew 4 cards. Our late game is looking good, I'm not too worried about getting 2 for 1 here, potentially. And if they don't have a trick, then this is a weird attack. Alright, Pack's favor, that's fine. And we found our own flights, that's good. Alright, so what's our plan here? Got 7 mana available. Want to try and be as efficient as possible, which probably means trying to convoke something. So let's see, can we go 3-drop? Leaves us 4, 5, 6, 7 mana for convoke, so not quite, but we could Loxodon on Restore as well. So if we play a 3-drop and then Restore, that's pretty efficient. And then we could still leave back the Gorgon as a block or 2. Seems fine to me. Alternative is Flight of Equinaughts to block their flight, and then Gorgon block center, that's also fine. Maybe that's better. Yeah, it's probably better. Since it also just automatically blocks the centaur. And not enough mana to play anything else this turn. Alright. And we're definitely happy with the status quo, since then we get to leverage our extra cards. No attacks, that's good. Alright. So now we have a wealth of options once again. 8 mana at our disposal. So my guess is we want to just unload some of our cheaper cards, and maybe we also get to convoke. So I think we disregard first, thin out the deck for general stray purposes. Although we do know some of the bottom cards from our Woodshaper. I don't recall which cards we put on the bottom though. I guess we found a Ledev Guardian as our only creature and then 3 non-creature cards. So I guess we general stray first before disregard. There was a Locket, 2 lands and a Ledev Guardian. I think we general stray first. Find a Recluse, not bad. Now we can disregard. Or I guess going Ledev Guardian might be better. Hits a bit harder. And then we can restore, tapping everything except for Equinaughts. Seems fine. No attacks here. Just setting up to flourish in one big turn. And our opponent's gonna scoop it up. Alright, sweet. So got the 2-0 victory over the Selesnya mirror match. It's a good sign. Yeah, the 4-drop creature puts the cards on the bottom in a random order, so normally we would get to see, if it wasn't a random order, which cards they were, but since they got shuffled, we no longer know. Right, so we got our first win, that's nice. Let's see if we can get a couple more here. Alright, how about this one? Flower to get a forest, so we can play Dissident on 2. It's not a great hand, since we don't have any action turns 3 and 4. But we do have a lot of those cards in our deck. Don't really want a mulligan. Guess I'll keep. So we're seeing the versatility of Flower Flourish here. Being a nice finisher in the previous game, and now it can fix our mana. Alright, that's a good pickup. Turn 2, turn 3, turn 4 Restore perhaps. Up against Golgari. So against Golgari, something to keep in mind is that trading creatures isn't always to your advantage, since the opponent wants to get some creatures in the graveyard. Alright, opponent with a pretty passive start. Yeah, my guess is we just play a Restorer here instead of getting in for 4. Next turn we also have the option of making a token with the champion, or we could get a Flight of Aquanauts down. Alright, opponent's deciding whether they want to do anything end of turn here. They're gonna sack the Lockets, alright, so pretty slow start. Turn 3 Locket, turn 4 sack it. Nothing to affect the board yet. And it's gonna be a Trooper. It's a decent blocker here. Ooh, Color the Culprit. Can punish them for activating it. That's looking good. I guess we could not play our lands, just attack with Champion tapping down Dissident and attack with Restorer and Champion. Definitely an interesting spot. Since if we play the land, then we kind of give away that we might have something. So yeah, I'm thinking attack, Champion and Restorer. And if our opponent just takes it, that's fine too. And then we can still make a token end of turn with the Champion. But ideally we get to get a nice 2-for-1 here. So if they take it, they're taking 6. Alright, damage is fine. Opponent's gonna activate. And that's fine. And now we can kill it. And get in for 3. Alright, that was a decent turn. What did they discard? A Molder Hulk. And a Deadly Visit on the Champion. Fair enough. The Visit's gonna help them fuel the graveyard for their graveyard-related shenanigans for Undergrowth. And they put a Uprising in the graveyard since they don't have any creatures in play. Alright. I guess it's just adding an Equinox to the board is probably better than getting in for 5, although getting in for 5, maybe even 2 extra with the Dissidents. 6. We're 1 short of going a Locket into activate Dissidents. So I think we're just playing a Flight here. And then next turn we can go Locket, activate Dissident, or who knows, maybe Locket, sacrifice Locket right away. Oof, Hatchery Spider. That's a beating. At least they missed there. So that thing blocks our entire board. Alright. So we're just gonna draw some cards end of turn with the locket. And then hope to find another copy of color. Or maybe something that helps us go wide. Yeah, LegenVD Champion's pretty good against Golgari, since you can just make a bunch of tokens and block their giant green creatures, or ground creatures. Alright, let's draw some cards. Alright, not bad. So we find a bunch of creatures, we can set up to go wide. Probably should have played Guide first, probably doesn't matter too much. So we're just gonna unload. And then drawing something like a Camaraderie would be pretty sweet. Let's get a forest. Alright. So we've got a few important cards that can swing the game here. Flower Flourish, got one copy. I've got our Camaraderie. Another Color the Culprit for the spider. Those are the three cards I think we're most interested in. Opponent keeps the card on top with the Whisper Agent, and it's a Prey Upon. Don't think we can afford to attack, sadly. Just have to wait until we find one of those cards. At least our opponent's not in a spot where they can start attacking. Oof, Vigor Spore Worm. So our opponent with a pretty late game oriented deck. So if we can go under them, that's a way to approach the matchup. So going more aggressive in the sideboarded games could be the way to go. Let's see if they sneak in on attack. They do. So 7-9. So I just realized this isn't limited to once per turn. So we can start activating this twice, almost. So 7-9. 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. I think we just take it for now, though. We would, I think, lose too much if we try and kill it. Could, of course, prevent 7 damage by double blocking, lose 1 creature, but I don't think we're really too worried about taking 7 here. Alright, that's a good draw. Let's just cast it, keep land in hand, I guess. So I don't think the opponent's in a spot where they can attack unless they found something specific. So we're back to a board stall, which means we have a chance of drawing one of those key cards to get us out of this. Camaraderie, Flourish, Color the Culprit. Worm's getting in there. Interesting. Oh, I guess it can only be blocked by 1 creature, never mind. Forgot this guy had more text. Alright, I guess we'll take 6 then. But next turn we can activate the Dissident to block it. Oof, that was a great draw. Okay. Forgot we had this in our deck. So yeah, the worm can only be blocked by 1 creature. Alright, so change of plan. We're gonna March of the Multitudes for Infinity. And then go wide. Should be a good time. Sure. So can we lethal them if they attack with a worm? They'll have 3 blockers back. Guess we're fine taking another 6. So they'll have 3 blockers. We'll have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 10, 11, 12, 13 attackers. Yeah, we should have lethal here. So I don't think we need to block. Guess our opponent could have the Infinity Pump spell and kill us. So maybe we just march anyway here. So 10, 11, 12, 13. Yeah, Bounty of Might is the one I'm playing around here. Let's see if they have a blocker. They don't. Alright, so do we have lethal? 3 blockers. The 3 largest ones are 1, 2, 3. So they take 4, 5, plus 12 is 17. And we also gain 12, so what's the worst that can happen? Alright, sweet. Well, just goes to show how good March of the Multitudes can be. Alright, so against Golgari, there's some pretty beefy stuff in there. This one doesn't answer any of their guys. Could play some worms ourselves. Could consider splashing the Midnight Reaper to chump their stuff and draw some cards with our smaller creatures. Pack Beast is actually looking pretty tempting too. Just tap down their stuff, get underneath them. Anything that we didn't like? I think we want to keep all the cheap stuff. Righteous Blow, I guess, looks pretty bad. Yeah, I can see cutting that one. Alright, this looks good. Alright, what do we have to work with here? Yeah, seems good. Flower can find us a land. Generous Ray hopefully finds us a land too. Then we've got double color. It's a bit slow. Don't have the early pressure like we did in the previous game. But it's pretty difficult to mulligan a serviceable hand. So we might be the one on the receiving end of some aggression this time. More flights. Alright, let's try to figure out if we want double white or double green. I guess we can have a look at our deck. So we have Gorgona, double green. No double white instead, except for March of the Multitudes and Loxodon on Restore. So I think I'm going with Forest here. So we can cast our Gorgon if we draw it. Alright, so we're hoping to find some lands and some cheap creatures. That's step 1. Alright, oof, that was a great draw. That's a creature and a land all in one. Let's get in for 2. And then play Discard Guide, getting a Plains. The argument to get a gate there is that we can next turn go Generous Trade plus gate. But there's also a good chance that we need Color of the Culprit next turn, and then we just want to untap land. And Whisper Agent, that's fine. Don't think we're trading, since that both makes it more difficult to convoke and puts creatures in their graveyard. Alright, Flower Flourish. Can definitely use that to get an extra land. So I think this turn we're just going Generous Trade plus Flower, and I don't think we bother attacking. Even though we could push 2 damage, doesn't seem worth it when we need to convoke the flight. And then the question is, do we Flower first or do we play Generous Trade first? Don't really need to draw more lands necessarily. Let's Flower first. And get Probably doesn't matter. Alright, it's a good one too. No attacks, and then next turn we can either convoke a flight or play Pack Beast and get in some damage. And then we have multiple answers to big stuff. So I'm liking where this is headed. That's a pretty sad Rhizome Lurcher. Seems like a good opportunity for Pack Beast. Generous Stray. Alright. And Ayla Death Guardian, so what's her play here? Attacking on the ground's not quite gonna work out. I guess a Dissident can get an attack in, but then we're kind of priced into pumping, which we don't want to do. Our opponent has missed a land drop, so even if they have the visit to answer the Flight of Equinauts, they might not be able to cast it. So I think getting the flight in play is probably fine. Sure. And then keep these guys on defense. And then hope they can't kill it right away so we can get an attack in. And then we've got a second one. Alright, opponent does have land 5, so I'm expecting a visit on the flight. Ooh, Undercity Uprising instead. Pretty much the same result here. Alright, now we can go Equinauts into Guardian. Could also sneak in some attacks, but again, doesn't seem worth it. Can do that next turn. I guess we also lost a creature, but yeah, this works out. If they do kill the flight, then at least we have the Guardian back on defense, even though I don't think our opponent's particularly likely to want to attack us. Alright, so now drawing something like a Flower Flourish, March of the Multitudes, Camaraderie would be pretty much game over. Looks like they have a Deadly Visit as well. Maybe another removal spell here. Underwhelm Lich, alright. Dodges our color. And Emara. A bit late to the party after we've done all the convoking, but still fine. So we can attack with the Dissident, pump it, and attack with the flight. I guess we can be more aggressive than that. The Pack Beast can get in there as well, trade for the Agent, that's probably fine. So send, send, send. And let's see what happens. And here we can pump, plus still play Amara. And next turn we might just be able to attack with everyone. Especially if our opponent plays a big blocker, thinking they can block with it, and we can just get rid of it with the color. Necrotic Wounds, alright, that's a good one. Kills Amara. Luckily wasn't able to kill the flight. So how's the attack with everyone plan looking now? Depends what they do, I guess. So they've got 3 creatures in graveyard. Unlikely to find something if they play a spider here, but they would also need a land. Alright, Price of Fame. Opponent definitely has a decent number of removal spells in their deck. So they've got that going for them. Surveil 2. Yeah, we've been unable to convert our colors so far. But at least having 2 colors in hand means that our opponent's not likely to turn the corner and start attacking us anytime soon. So we have time to draw our bombs. So attacking with the Dissident seems reasonable. Do we attack with everyone? Then we get in 6-7 damage, put them to 2. That's probably worth it, to be honest. Unlikely they have any cheap removal for 2 mana. So yeah, I think we just get in there here. Alright, they're going for the trade. Fine by me. Don't think they can afford to pay for, but maybe they do. Alright. Yeah, they would have died if they paid for, so not advisable. So now we're just hoping for them to play a big creature that we can kill, but it's not going to be necessary. Alright, sweet. It's another nice 2-0 victory, this time over Golgari. So the deck's been performing quite well. Pretty happy with it. Alright, so already made 800 gems back. The next one would put us at break even in terms of gems. So the next victory is pretty important. Alright, how about this one? It's a bit clunky, but we are on the draw and got a generous trade to help us find land 4. So I think it's a keep, but if we don't draw lands, we could get punished. Shieldmate's not a bad pickup. Ooh, the Mirror Spybug. And a flower. Quite a dilemma here. I guess I'm better off just playing the Shieldmate here. And then next turn, even if we don't find land, we just flower. Since having a 2-2 Vigilance in play beats having a 1-2 in play, I think. Alright, found a land anyway. I guess we can now also go Ledev Guardian with Convoke. Is that better than Generous Stray? I think we Generous Stray and then next turn we can go Flower plus Convoke. Opponent not doing much. So we can attack and just Woodshaper here. Looks like we might be able to keep Flower as a finisher instead of a land. I guess I could have the 3-2 flash. So maybe we don't attack with the Generous Stray. Yeah. Don't think the 1 point is going to be too relevant. Alright, they didn't have anything. Let's play Woodshaper. Alright, Sabotage to counter it, that's fine. I guess what we could have considered was playing the Woodshaper. If they have a counterspell, then we know that we can attack safely with the Generous Stray. So we might have missed out on 1 point. Alright. A lot of decisions here as well. Probably fine to color the Dowser, get in for 3. And then do we flower for a land anyway? Seems like a bit of a waste. We could also just go District Guide and Convoke out the Guardian. And then take a beating from the Dowser and then next turn be in a better spot. Don't hate that either. Get a land. And then play Guardian, tapping down these two, I guess. Alright. So we might take some damage from the Dowser, but they probably keep it back to block and then we can just color it away. Can also go for a big March of the Multitudes, we'll see. Darkblade Agents. It's a decent blocker too here. Makes it more likely that the Dowser gets in there. Yep. Well, now we could just flourish and get in for a pretty big amount. Don't hate it. Or we could just march first and then flourish for the lethal for sure. Since right now flourish would be 4 plus 3 7 plus 4 is 11 plus 4 is 15. So that 1 point we missed being relevant. I think we just march. Also keeps up the flexibility of color. And then next turn lethal for sure, unless they can counter something. Alright. Artful Takedown. Let's convoke in response, shall we? So x equals 7. And yeah, the flourish should be good enough here. And alright, they're going for it. So that's 8 damage. I mean, is there anything they could have here? If they can surveil at instant speed, then they grow this up to 3. I mean, we might as well. Don't think this matters. Alright. Make sure to cast the right half here. I've got a feeling this is enough damage, but we may have to do the math. I don't know. I think I'll trust my instinct here. Alright, I think my instinct was right. Well, that's another win thanks to March of the Multitudes and to a lesser extent Flower Flourish, proving to be quite a bit better than just a land. So against Dimir, they had a counterspell, they had some spy bugs, some 4/5s. Color Culprit looks reasonable. Don't think we need Gird, pretty bad against Artful Takedown scenarios. Unsure whether we want to pack Beasts. Canopy could be okay, since I'm expecting them to have a bunch of flyers. So it's probably worth bringing in. And what do we take out? Haven't played much with the Healer's Hawk yet. Righteous Blow seems good against Spybug specifically, not as good as against the 2/3 common. Recluse seems good. Not sure what to cut here. Selesnya Locket maybe? When in doubt. Yeah. Don't want to cut too many creatures since so many of our cards rely on them. Just gotta lock it, call it a day. Welp, this hand's got a lot of lands. Imara's good, Camaraderie's good, but could easily draw 1 or 2 more lands and not get anywhere, but we are on the draw. This is tough. Like, turn 2 Imara can easily run away with the game. I think I'll try it for science. Alright. Burglar Rats, well, I know what I'm discarding. Alright, that's a good one. So hopefully they don't have a blocker here. It's kind of a blocker, but not really. Okay then. Let's get rid of another land, I guess. So I'll happily cash in my Imara for a Mesmerist and make a token here. Although we do have some Convoke cards in our deck, but it feels like trading for the Mesmerist when we have a Gorgon in hand might be worth it. opponent just takes it. Wow, okay. It's the preferred outcome. And the Mirror Informant, sure. So we just want to work our way up towards 6 mana, and that's probably going to be pretty good. Alright. Don't think we're attacking any more with Amara, since now they could block a Rat plus Informant, and trading Amara for a Rat doesn't seem worth it. So now we are hoping to draw some Convoke cards, so we can still make some more tokens with Amara. Agent we can try to block with the Gorgon. It's an interesting draw too. Can potentially save Amara if they try and double block, but the obvious block is just single block with a Darkblade Agent, which would then not really work out. So I think we chill. And then just try to Camaraderie next turn for 3 cards. Alright, so that's why we boarded in our Crashing Canopy. So now their Darkblade Agent has Death Touch. So do we trade if they attack? Maybe. Okay. I guess I can just do that. Fair enough. Okay then. So I guess the agent's connecting, that's fine. And then we get to eat the rats with Amara. And then take down the Mesmerists. Don't think we want to trade a token when we have Camaraderie in hand. So this seems fine. We're not necessarily forced to use this. We could also use it on offense in the future, but feels like we just don't want to fall too far behind. Alright. Ooh, that's a nice draw. So now we can just Crushing Canopy the Watcher instead. Attack with Amara. Yeah, it's gotta be better here. And long-lived sideboard cards. And I'll keep the land in hand in case they do make us discard one. So Amara's definitely attacking, tokens attacking. Question is, do we attack with the Gorgon? Answer, unsure. I don't think we do. Since I would be fine trading it with Agent now. Best case scenario, opponent just plays a random creature and we get to Camaraderie next turn. Alright, it's gonna be an Artful Takedown instead. But Agent doesn't draw them a card, so that's fine. Alright, this worked out perfectly. Draw 3. Our tokens with lifelink get +1/+1, and we get an extra attack in with Amara. Our draw steps weren't all that exciting, but hopefully the Woodshaper can find a Convoke creature. Yeah, I don't think this card's particularly playable. Interesting attack with the Informant, so points towards them having a blocker. Alright, never mind. Let's try to... They could have a counterspell here. Let's try and bait with the Guide first. Alright, that works. I'm still not too sad if they counter the Woodshaper. But they might. Yep. Alright, so we've got a bit of a stalled board, but we've got a few cards that win us a game, so don't mind our spot. Don't have a lot of lands left in our deck. We discarded 4 of them. It's a reasonable pickup, as it can attack past the Agent. only one activation at the moment, but that's enough. Sure. Alright. So still only one activation here. So is this a point where we want to attack with everyone? I think it's one turn too early for that. Let's see if they want to make some trades. If we can get rid of the agent. Alright, they're just gonna take it. So next turn we have double activation with the Dissident. So it's lethal by itself. So we probably go for an all-out attack. Opponent has the same idea. Alright. Do they have a board wipe of some sort? Might be the only explanation. So do we double block the agent or do we just take the 2? Alright, opponent's had enough. Not sure what I would have done here, whether to play around the sweeper and just let them trade or just preserve our creatures in case they don't. Probably would have just taken 2 from the agent, to be honest. Alright, sweet, so we're 3-0, haven't dropped the game yet, and we got our gems back, so it's all gravy from here. Alright, and this hand's pretty awesome. Turn to Amara. We got to see her in action in the previous game. I think probably the best turn 2 play you can have in the format. Might be forgetting something, but it's probably up there. Right, fresh face recruits. It's up against a Boros deck. So we got to experience all the different decks here. Selesnya, Golgari, Dimir, now Boros. It's always nice. It's unfortunate that we don't get to choose our basic land art. Alright, Legion Warboss, that's a scary boy. But we can attack into it with Amara, luckily. I would love a trade. It's great for us. And Recluse blocks recruit pretty well. It's probably worth it. Alright, Rock Charger's annoying one, but Recluse does a good job of blocking the recruit with flying. So, probably gonna hang on to Flourish. So this turn we can just play a Generous Tray, seems good. Alright, let's pass a turn. Ooh, that's a good one. But we do have an answer thanks to Color. We might be better off playing the Flight first and then next turn playing Color. Don't hate it. Although next turn we could also go Shieldmate into Flight of Aquanauts, which is pretty sweet. So decisions. I think we Flight. The problem with Flight is if they have a removal spell we get hit for 9 damage, which is quite a lot. So we might be better off just playing it safe, get rid of the Loxodon, could even get rid of the Charger, to be honest. This is tricky. I think I'll go with Aquanauts anyway. Which technically blocks all their stuff. If they attack us anyway, then we might be able to kill them with Flourish next turn, although I guess we haven't dealt any damage yet, so that's gonna be tricky. Alright, so we're hoping the Aquanaut survives. Would love to see a no attack, but that's unlikely. Alright, send everyone, so... Don't think we're blocking. Yeah, there's just too many things that can go wrong here. If we block the charger... Sure Strike beats us. I don't think we block. So we just need to survive one more turn and then play some more 2-drops here. Maybe Color the Culprit, one of their blockers. Opponent kept up 4 mana, so I guess they wasted their turn of sorts, or they might have a removal spell at instant speed here. So what are we sending? Could even play it super passively and then try to block with a flight and then have Color the Culprit back as a trick if they do have a pump spell. Don't hate that. So I think we're just gonna attack with our token and maybe our Generous Tray. And then we'll add a 2-drop to the board. And that 2-drop should probably be... I don't think it matters much, but I guess a Recruit attacks better next turn. Alright, so now we want to block with the flights, and if they have a trick then we blow them out with Color. At least that's the theory. Okay then. I guess that makes that a little more difficult. Alright, so that was a reason to maybe play the Shieldmate last turn. Don't think it matters too much. We will let the opponent attack since we don't want them to have blockers. Although I guess, let's see, 4... Yeah, now we no longer are dealing lethal with Flourish. I mean, I guess we can let them attack anyway. Doesn't really change much. So our opponent's attacking for 9 damage. So if we color... Probably want to color the Loxodon. And then we're taking 5. So we'll have to leave back some blockers, presumably. So right now, if we were to Flourish, we would be dealing 6 plus 6 is 12. So not quite enough. So had we played Shieldmate, we would still only have 16, so that was still not enough. That one turn where they attacked into the flight, they probably still have a combat trick of sorts, and if that trick is a Sure Strike, then we would be dead if we attack with Aquanauts. So maybe that's not necessary. Alright, so just a Generous Tray attacking. Could be that we're playing it too passively here, but I don't know. Feels like we can potentially beat a trick if we play defense. Yeah, the wave killing 2 of our creatures was pretty painful. Otherwise, the Flourish plan was looking good. Alright, so we can prevent 3 damage here. If they have a trick, they have a trick. Looks like they do. Alright, so that was a trick they had. Fair enough. Another flight, it's not bad. So we can attack for 3, play another flight on defense, and technically we're still alive. 7, 8. Well, this is a close one. Alright, so if they don't have anything, we would go to 1. But I'm guessing they have something. Sure Strike. So yeah, they did have the Sure Strike as well, as it turns out. Alright, it's too bad. What kind of got us here was the wave killing 2 over 1 toughness creatures, especially the Lifelinker. So that was too bad. Definitely had the cards to beat them there. They just didn't line up the way we wanted to. Alright, so against an aggressive Boros deck, can't really play defense too long if they've got a card that prevents us from blocking. Canopy can answer the Rock Charger. Can expect him to have a few Sky Knight Legionnaires though. I don't think our opponent's going to be playing defense very often, so Pack Beast doesn't seem worth it. So the real consideration here is Crushing Canopy. Righteous Blow looks great. Yeah, the fact that we also set up the Color the Culprit for blowouts, and then they had the Prevent Us From Blocking trick, made it so we didn't get the blowout with the Color. Whereas if we were able to block one of their 4 toughness creatures, they go for the Sure Strike, we Color in response, the game's probably over. So that just didn't work out the way we wanted to, sadly. I think we can take out a Color, make room for Crushing Canopy. Don't think they're gonna have too many 4 toughness creatures. And Canopy also answers Luminous Bonds, that's a good point. That's another reason to want it. Alright, I think this is what we're going with. It's a bit on the pricey side, especially given that we're on the play. So we need to draw land essentially in our first 2 draw steps, otherwise we're in trouble. If we do, we've got a turn 3 champion, turn 4 Woodshaper, turn 5 Flight of Equinox if our creatures survive. It's somewhat risky, but it's got the power level to get there. So I think I'm keeping. If the only requirements for us having a functional draw is drawing a single land, so that's a pretty low bar. Alright, they've got their own Hawk. Our Hawk is a bit more valuable than theirs, given the Convoke mechanic. Alright, let's hope to draw land next turn's pretty much make or break. If we hit our land, then we're in good shape. If we don't, then we might already be losing. No blocks. Alright, we got there. Let's just trade some damage. Alright, that was a good sequence. Opponent didn't have a turn to play. And we got to develop our champion. And there's a Legionnaire. That's why we brought in a Canopy as well. And a Discard Guide. Alright, I don't actually mind developing the guide here. Might as well get a gate since we don't need untapped land. And that way if we draw the gate later, it's not gonna screw with us. Get in for 4. And then next turn we're even in the spot where we can play the Flight, which is pretty sweet. What's their 4th mana play here? Inspiring Unicorn. Alright, it's a good one. And Color the Culprit, not quite there. Depends if they have a trick, I guess. So yeah, we can't play the Flight. So we can keep up Color and Crushing Canopy, seems decent. Question is, do we attack with any of our creatures? I guess we're fine trading Champion for Unicorn, so just getting in with everyone seems fine. Or we could... I guess we can just get in with a Hawk. If our opponent attacks with Unicorn and has a trick, we can hope to blow them out with Color, but if the trick is Sure Strike, then that's not gonna work. So this is a tricky spot. If their trick is +2/+2, then Color is gonna be great. If not, we might get wrecked. Alright, I think we'll play it like this. Could always choose to Canopy the Legionnaire. Oof, that's a pretty bad one for us too. Alright. So Canopy is gonna have to kill a flyer here. Question is, are we more annoyed by the lifelinker or by the bigger body? So Sure Strike on Hawk doesn't get past Equinox unless they also attack with the Unicorn. Whereas Legionnaire with Sure Strike punches past the flight. I think we would rather kill the Legionnaire here. Well, we don't really have much of a choice. We either keep up color or play Woodshaper. I mean, I guess we can hang back. Just attack with a Hawk. Getting Woodshaper down means we would be closer to convoking the flight, though. Definitely not in a spot where we're interested in racing. Think we say go, but we could get punished if our opponent doesn't play into our color. I've got a feeling that we're gonna need to get rid of a creature here, otherwise we're gonna fall too far behind, even though playing Woodshaper would unlock flight next turn. It's a tricky spot. Alright, opponent sends everyone. So we can try to double block Unicorn and hope they have a trick that lines up well with our color. If they don't have a trick, then we can just color the Pack Beast. Alright, so this is tricky, very delicate situation. So we can color the Pack Beast and prevent 4 damage, but then if they have a Sure Strike or another trick on the Unicorn, it's kind of a blowout. Or we have to take 4, but 4 damage is a lot. I think we still lean towards taking 4 and playing it safe. Hellkite Whelp. Whelp. It's gonna kill our Hawk. It's too bad. Could be too conservative and we should have just gone for the color on the creature anyway. I don't know, it's a delicate spot. The fact that our opponent passed priority right away was kind of suspicious. Now we don't have a ton of plays available, sadly. I mean, I guess we don't have to attack with the Hawk, since this can also kill the Woodshaper now, which is probably what we're playing. So this game we were kind of 1 land away from playing a flight, which is what we needed. Imara's not bad. But we're probably gonna die before we get a chance to take full advantage of Imara. And a Sky Knight Legionnaire is gonna kill our only blocker. Alright, it's too bad. So had we prevented the 4 damage, we would have gotten an extra turn. Unsure whether that would have made a difference here, but there's a chance it would have. So, too bad there, lost to Boros. I think the matchup was definitely winnable. Just needed that one extra thing to go our way. In the first game, the fact that they had the unblockable spell when we were setting up for a nice color is kind of what made the difference. And then the second game, we were just like 1 land away from really stabilizing. But aggressively costed creatures backed up by Comet Tricks is always going to be a good strategy in Limited, sadly. Alright, how about this hand? No green mana, so that's the first problem. But we are on the draw. We've got Flower Flourish as 2 additional ways to get green mana potentially, besides our forests and our Guildgate. And Fail Case is a turn for Guardian. I think I'll keep. It's a bit on the greedy side, but we've got like 10 green sources we can draw, and at least 3 draw steps to get there, so. A Locket is also a green source. And this hand's quite good if we do find green mana. Another Boros deck, but no 2-drops, that's good. And no 3-drop either. Alright, let's Locket plus Flower, get access to all the green mana in the world. And now we're in business. turn for recruit. It's beatable. Alright, so we've got 5 mana. Don't quite get to double spell this turn, but we want to look towards next turn whether we can double spell. So if this turn we play Guardian, next turn we can go Stray plus Champion. That's pretty appealing. So let's do that. And if they attack, not sure if we're blocking. So Champion plus Stray looks good here. Just want to throw as many blockers in front of their stuff as possible. And then eventually take over with our better late game. So if they have a trick here, we could be in some trouble. Blaze our 2/4, sure. So I think it's reasonable to trade Champion for Sergeant here. Otherwise the recruit is going to get a bit out of hand. We've got some late game plays here. We've also got the Locket we can sack. So it seems like an acceptable trade. Recluse. I guess we'll just play a flight here. And hope they don't attack us. Alright, sweet. Loxodon's looking good here. So 6, 7, 8 mana. So we can go a Recluse into a Loxodon. Let's double check. Yep, that should work out. I guess we'll attack first with the flight. And we'll tap the Stray. Alright, this game is going a bit better than the previous Boros matchup. Sure. At least got an attack in. Think I'm fine attacking with everyone here. Next turn we can sack the Lockets. Refuel, find some of those sweet convo cards. Maybe a Flourish or Camaraderie would be pretty epic. I guess we'll tap our mana properly. Alright, perfect. This hand is making me happy. Alright, can even force an attack through thanks to Righteous Blow. Seems good. Just a strike, sure. I guess I should have put the recruit second. Probably doesn't matter too much here. So yeah, when they double block our 3/4 and we have a removal spell for one of the creatures we're blocking, then our only concern is a pump spell. So if we put the recruit first, we Righteous Blow the recruit and they save it with a pump spell, then the Restorer might not get to kill the recruit, and then we also don't get to kill the other 2/2, whereas if we put 2/2 first and then the recruit second, then if we Righteous Blow the recruit, we at least get to kill their District Guard, if that makes sense. Either way. Alright, it's gonna give us the concession. So, against Boros, what do we want? Do we make the same changes as last game? Didn't see as many flyers this time around, so maybe Crushing Canopy is not necessary. So in that case we probably don't want to make any changes, but on the other hand, Color the Culprit, probably not going to have too many targets either. So in that case we may want to bring in a Crushing Canopy regardless. Could also consider adding a Gird for Battle or a Pack Beast, which are both good at racing, but now we're going to be on the draw, so presumably we're going to be on the defensive. So I think I'll bring in a Canopy and call it a day. And a one-lander is going to be difficult to keep without a flower in hand. It's too bad. This is the opposite problem. Don't think I can keep a 5-lander with color as our only play. Alright, I mean, just need a forest on top and then we're off to the races. Right now we're only playing 16 lands, but that's also due to the fact that we have 2 copies of Flower Flourish that finds a land and a locket. Usually 17 lands, you can't go too wrong. Very aggressive decks can get away with 16 if the curve is low. Every now and then you'll see 18 if you're splashing multiple colors or your curve is super high. Can't really block the Goblin here because of the annoying ability. Alright, so this might be a non-game sadly. Mulligan to 5, miss our 3rd land drop, no green mana for Emara. Alright, that's something. So, not sure what to do here. I think we played Dissident first, bait out the trick, keep attacking with the Hawk since I don't really want to trade it for a ground creature. Alright, looks like they don't have anything. Oof, Truefire Captain. And neatly dodges our Color the Culprit. Alright. Guess we'll play Mara now. So we're gonna need to pull off a pretty big March of the Multitudes this game to have a chance. Opponent did pick up a Lava Coil, presumably this turn. I guess maybe they just wanted to play the Truefire Captain last turn anyway. So we could have marched there to tap Amara for Convoke, but that would have been a march for 1. Essentially making 2 tokens. I don't think that would have been good enough. But yeah, we're pretty dead now. Can march for X equals 3 now. Not good enough. Not sure why I tapped double white there. Alright. So presumably we are dead. So yeah, we have to block 3, take 8. Yeah, we're dead. Alright. Alright, let's try not to mulligan this time. Now that we're on the play, we might be a little bit more aggressive. Did we see anything that makes us reevaluate anything? Still don't think color's gonna be very good. Might just want to cut it all together. bring in a Gird or a Pack Beast. I'm leaning towards Pack Beast just to have an extra creature, always useful. Alright, let's try this. Canopy had no targets, that's true. But I still suspect that we're gonna find a target in their deck. Luminous Bonds or a Legionnaire somewhere. Yeah, that sounds okay. I don't think we're gonna miss out on a Gird for battle. Sure. Alright. Oh. So next turn we can get a Loxodon in play, which is pretty nice. Hopefully the champion survives. Alright, there's a Sky Knight, so there's your target for Canopy. Oof, Amara. If only we had Amara on turn 2. So we could even consider Amara, tap it with champion to make a token right away. It's gotta be decent. Alternative is playing Loxodon. Nah, I think I like Amara here. And then do we Flower? I think we do, just to get extra mana to make sure we can Convoke next turn. Even if something bad happens, we still have the champion as a mana sink. Want to get our Equinauts in play. Alright. Champion's pretty sweet with Amara. Get to tap down a creature, make a token, go wide. And we've got some nice Convoke cards to follow up. Alright, opponent's got their own Gird for battle. And an answer for Amara, just a strike. Alright, it's okay. Got our value. Just a recruit getting in there. Alright. So, could play the flights, but what I'm liking as well is a Loxodon Restorer, and then we can tap it down with the champion to attack for 3. I'm fine with the trade. Yeah, seems good to me. I guess we can even pump it twice if we want to. Alright, that's definitely the play then. So we can tap the token. Gain some life. And attack with a 4/4 champion. Alright, I'm liking where this is going. The only downside of this play is that if our opponent has a hasty mentor creature, they could mentor pretty nicely. But then they might be dead on the way back. So, alright, opponent's playing defense, that's where we want them. So, no gate for the Sergeant, so just a 3/3 here. So if we make a token with a champion, I guess we would rather just go lock it into Gorgon. Can pump the champion 4 times. Make it into a 6/6, that seems good. Alright, that's our play. Seems better than attacking with the Restorer since they can double block that one. Ladaf champion, flexing its muscles. Getting a nice 2-for-1. Sworn Companions, that's okay. Still no gate. Alright. So now we could attack with a Restorer, but that would just trade for the Sergeant. Attack with the Dissident, threaten to pump it, and then still play Equinox second main. Kinda like that. Could also go Spider for 5, 6, 7, 8, and then still play Flight in the same turn. Double spell. I think getting in the damage is probably worth it here. We'll see how they respond. Alright, it's a double block. So I'm okay pumping here. There's a gate finally, lol. Alright, GG's. Got to win. Sweet. Alright, so we got the 4 wins. Alright, another 1-lander, but we do have Flower on the draw. It's a little risky, but do get to play Recruit on 2. Hopefully Gorgon on 3. Let's try it. Alright, perfect. Even double green for Gorgon. Scatter white. And looking like another Selesnya mirror match. Beetle, sure. So next turn we can choose between Guardian if we convoke or Gorgon. We'll see if they throw a blocker in front of the Recruiter here. Discard Guide's a good one. We don't want to trade Pitiless Gorgon for Discard Guide, whereas the Guardian blocks the guide pretty well. And then next turn we might be able to convoke the Loxodon, which does a good job of blocking too. Sworn Companions, fair enough. So your opponent might have been doing some convoke math. Oof. That's a powerful turn. Do have double color the culprit though, so we're not too worried quite yet. So I think we'll just pass the turn and then try to color when they attack. The downside of color until the attack is that they might be able to convoke with the Centaur, but it's unlikely that they decide to do that. Might get a 2-for-1 if they try and protect it with a trick. And they restore, fair enough. Alright, land is good. So is it time for our own Loxodon here? Probably. And then the Rock Charger is going to be annoying, but next turn we've got the Flight coming down. So that seems reasonable. So it all boils down to whether they have an answer for the Flight or not. If they do, we could be in a bit of trouble, since then the Rock Charger is probably gonna take over. So we'll take 3. And a patrol, another flyer. Alright, I mean, it's pretty scary to tap out for flight here, since if they answer it then we're taking 1,000,000 damage. But they do only have 1 card in hand. So what are the chances that they have a removal spell for the flight? It's definitely realistic, since I didn't really have a reason to play one yet. But what's the alternative? Playing a Woodshaper's not too impressive here. Yeah, let's just go for it. Alright, so this could go very poorly. Alright. They did have to think a second about it, so they might not have a trick. So my guess is we want to block the patrol over the charger, although it's close. Let's say they do have a +3 pump spell, then blocking the charger would actually be beneficial, whereas blocking the patrol doesn't. So this is kind of playing around the +3 pump spell. We would be taking 4, 8, 11, 12, so not quite dead. Alright, I think we'll try this. And what's the follow-up? Shieldmates. Alright, I mean, we're somewhat stable here. Generous trade a draw. So does our opponent have any good attacks? Not really. But maybe if they attack with everyone they can push through enough damage. But I doubt it. So alright, we can play defense now. So now the question is, do we run out the Gorgon or the Generous Tray? Generous Tray drawing us a land would be pretty sweet. Yeah, I should have kept up double green here, so any land would have been good enough. Alright. So we're hoping to dodge pump spells here. That's a good one. But we do have an answer. And a Recluse. So we could also go Locket plus Gorgon. That also blocks the centaur pretty well. Seems better for now. It's definitely scary since if our opponent has any... Oof, yeah, that's game. Alright, well, we also have a copy in our deck. Yeah, if they had a Flower, Flourish, or something like a Camaraderie, we were gonna be in trouble. I guess we're not literally dead, but this is definitely not good for us. So yeah, our opponent just cast a Camaraderie, for anyone that's unfamiliar. And they had 8 creatures in place, so... Alright, let's figure out if we're dead. So we're taking 6. I guess we go to 1. Are these the blocks that we want to go with? Seems reasonable. We're probably gonna die next turn. But don't think we have better blocks available. And a Healer's Hawk for good measure. Alright, 7 mana. So we could get Woodshaper and Recluse in play. 5 blockers, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Our opponent's got 6 attackers. Doesn't quite line up. So do we have anything that saves us here? Do we want to show them any additional cards? I guess we can go Recluse. Keep up Color the Culprit in case they don't go for an all-out attack. In case they're afraid of something, and then Color can potentially save us. So our opponent might not attack yet and just try and go even wider for next turn, which we're probably not going to be able to beat. But I guess we did buy ourselves a turn, since this indicates no attack. Alright, more centaurs. Opponent's got a lot of those, so Color the Culprit is looking good at least. So do we show them another color? So what can we potentially draw? Our own copy of Camaraderie. Would that do it? I don't think so. March the Multitudes, would that do it? We could march for X equals 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. It's a decent amount, but I don't think that's enough. So I don't think we show them any extra cards here. Well, we did draw the March. Yeah, I don't think we showed them any extra cards. And they do have Flourish as well. Fair enough. So their Selesnya deck looks pretty solid. They just happened to draw their rare before we did. Alright, so we're not beating this even with March. Alright, let's scoop it up here. Alright, so double or triple Rosemane Centaur, Flourish, Camaraderie, and a bunch of random creatures. So that's what we're up against. Didn't see many flyer. I guess we saw the Patrol and the Rock Charger as far as flyers. Didn't see any enchantments. I think our main deck is set up pretty well for the matchup already. Righteous Blow, arguably maybe not necessary. But it's not like we have anything better. Maybe want to add some Worms as more big creatures, but they just trade for the Centaur. Yeah, Centaur's a very good card. Too bad we didn't end up picking any up for our deck. No, I think I like our setup. Double colors gonna be a key card. And then it's pretty much whoever draws their Camaraderie first is probably gonna win. Alright. Alright, this hand's okay. Also a bit heavy on the expensive cards and not enough early plays. Do need a third land for champion. Yeah, this hand, now that I look at it a bit more, is actually quite poor. Do need a third land, do need some cheap creatures. But are we really winning the mirror match if we mulligan? It's gonna be difficult. Alright, I think we just have to believe and both draw 2 drops on lands. And hope they don't curve out too badly. Since this hand does have all the tools we need, we've got a color to answer a bigger creature, Camaraderie to get ahead, and Flight of Equinaughts to blank their flyers. So we just need lands and cheap creatures for Convoke. Alright, a third land would be appreciated. Alright, it's too bad. At least we did pick up the cheap creature part, but missing the lands is not good. District Guide, would love one of those, but need a third land first. Yep. So what are we discarding here? What gets us back in the game? What card is just not necessary? I mean, the card we're furthest away from casting is Camaraderie, but it's also the card that gets us back in the game. Restorer is still castable on the cheap thanks to Convoke potentially. So is Flight, color is kind of an answer. So it's pretty tough to discard here. Maybe it is just a Restorer. I don't know. Alright, so we need our opponent to just flood out essentially and then be in a spot where Screw beats Flood. There's a patrol. Beetle pumps patrol. That's nice, since now they can mentor onto the guide as well. Alright. And a prey upon. It's too bad. Alright, well, we had a good run. Had to end at some point. Too bad that it had to end with Mana Screw. That's a good one too. Alright. So this mentors onto... I guess we're technically not dead yet. But we're definitely not coming back from this. At least we made our gems back and the Mana Screw didn't happen before the 4th win. Alright, let's absorb some damage. Let's crack the piñata here. Alright, so ended up with 4 wins. Still a solid performance. Sometimes you keep a 2-lander on the play and don't get there. Ooh, 5 packs and quite a few gems. Let's crack some packs. Got a playset of him already, but that'll help for the vault. Got our playset of Risk Factor now, I think. Nice, Mythic Wildcard, always appreciated. Dream Eater, already had our playset, so it's gonna count towards a vault. And last but not least, a duplicate. Alright. Not bad, not bad. So that's gonna be it for me today. I want to thank everyone for watching, hope you enjoyed, and as always, have a nice day. I also want to thank all my patrons for being part of the channel, and you can become a patron yourself today and decide the topic of future videos over at patreon.com/LegenVD.